Hi, my name is Dr. Kevin Gazzara with Magna Leadership Solutions, and we're so glad that you're here to join us for this series of tips from our organization.
Hi, and I'm Tim Galusha. Glad to be here with you. Can't wait to share a few of these things we've learned over a lifetime of learning. So let's talk about conflict resolution. And one of the things that I spent a lot of time in my career on was negotiating with unions. And so anytime I went to negotiation, you can imagine what was the technique that the union wanted to use. Mm-hmm. Competing, right? I want all of our stuff and you're not getting any of your stuff. And many negotiators would fall into that same trap and say, no, the answer is no to everything you asked for, and you're not getting a single thing until you deal with my problems. Not very effective.
And you know, the thing that I found in the world that I lived in, everybody tried to work in a world of collaboration, particularly in project management, right? Everything was collaborative. It was really going for the win-win. You get everything that you want, I get everything that I want. And quite often that becomes difficult to accomplish, particularly when there's timelines and you're coming from different perspectives.
And it can be very slow, very slow. So one of the techniques I used in a competing environment was to try to find something that the union was asking for where I'd give them more than what they wanted. And that always, think, wow, what is this guy doing? He actually listened to us and he helped solve one of our problems. Maybe there's something to this approach other than this competing approach.
So what I hear you say, Tim, is that you're really trying to work from a collaboration mindset and ultimately maybe meet in the middle, which would be termed compromising.
So there are certainly things that you were always going to compromise on wages, for example. You know, they're not going to get nothing and they're not going to get huge amounts. They're going to get a reasonable amount. So it's going to be a compromise, and we're going to go through the little dance to make it feel good. But when it comes to identifying the real problems, I wanted to say no to the things that weren't important, and I wanted to say yes to the things that were important. And I wanted to solve their problems first so that they'd be willing to solve my problems later.
Now, we talked about compromising, collaborating, and competing, but we haven't talked about really avoiding or accommodating, which are the two of the other ones of the 5 approaches that people could use to resolve conflict.
Right. So certainly there were many times when they would ask for something that was just stupid, and how I would avoid it, I'd say, the company's going to put that on hold and evaluate it down the road. And I just put it on hold and leave it on hold until it kind of got forgotten about. Mm-hmm. And then in accommodating, if it was something that just made a lot of sense and we should just do, I would just do it. And I'd say, that makes a lot of sense. And I typically try to find somebody on the other side that I thought was really bright and was a good problem solver. Uh-huh. And I'd say, the way you explained that to me made total sense. Company agrees. I'll write up the language.
Well, and what I hear you say is you bring them into the discussion. You place them in a position where they look good to the rest of the people that they're maybe negotiating for, or that they have a conflict with. And from a leadership perspective, you're raising their stature, and because you are working together with them, that you're raising your leadership stature as well.
Right. And so at the end of the day, we solved a lot more problems. Sometimes we avoided, sometimes we accommodated, sometimes we compromised, sometimes we competed, and sometimes we actually got down to where we found the best solution. It was a win-win, and that was typically on our most important issue for the facility. Was we really need to solve this problem to stay competitive. And so in that case, we'd be able to use the ultimate and be able to really collaborate and find the best solution.
So to close out this short video, one of the recommendations that we have as kind of your action item is to think about which of the 5 approaches, avoiding, accommodating, competing, collaborating, or compromising, really makes the most sense, or what your target is to go after before you begin the negotiation or the potential conflict. And if you can go in with that mindset and then possibly figure out what's the best case and the worst case scenario, it leaves you in a much stronger position, and you may even want to not show all your cards on the table at the moment. You do want to be able to look at things from the other person's perspective as well as your own to get to a solution that really not only fits a short-term but a long-term advantage.
Yeah, and I would add to that, Kevin, if you find that you're really only able, or your go-to is just one or two that you either want to compete or you want to accommodate, you're really underperforming as a leader, because those are not always the right solutions.
Thanks for watching the video. One of the things that we like to do is really help others be successful using the servant leadership model. And both Tim and I have been practitioners in industry for over 30 years. We'd like to share some of the tips and tricks to help you get to that next level of leadership with your organization, so that you can be kind of recognized at the level of your full potential. And if that makes sense, please contact us at magnaleadership.com or click the link in this video, and you can set up time for a discussion with us. We would love to help you. Absolutely no sales pitch. We're here to help you be more successful.